Hey guys, so for my lesson, we would start out with the instant activity, and we're just gonna do, they would come in and on the board would have like that alphabet with the list of different exercises, and I would say spell your teacher's last name with these exercises. So for me it would be Thrasher, or like they would do their class teacher's last name or whatever, and so they would just come in and immediately do that right away. And then I would, like, once they're done with that, I'd have them go sit so that I could talk to them and kind of explain what we're doing that day. And so when we're doing that, I would talk to them and say, okay, we've been learning like a lot of different types of throwing. One of these types is underhand throwing. And then we would talk about how you do an underhand throw when you're throwing at something that's below your waist, like when your target is below your waist. And so how like that's really important because you're aiming for something. And so our game that we're gonna play today is practicing aiming using an underhand toss. And so before getting into the game, we would just do like a little like skill development of them, like getting a partner with a bean bag and have them like practice like an underhand toss back and forth to their partner just for a couple minutes, practicing like moving, swinging your arm back to a 45-degree angle and then forward to a 45-degree angle and releasing it, that sort of stuff. So just really like that skill of throwing underhand and that motion. So we would do that for a few minutes, and then we would get into the game. And the game that we are playing is called Landing Pad. It's really cute. I got it from the Open Phys Ed website. And so how that is played is you basically, the students get into partners and they go to a station that has set up a place marker. I don't have markers here obviously, so I just have an X on the floor. And then you would have a hula hoop some distance away that can change and vary it up and stuff, and they would have a beanbag. And so one person stands on the marker and the other person stands on the end of the hula hoop, and the person who's on the marker has the beanbag, and they do their underhand toss and try to get it inside the hula hoop. And so once they get it inside the hula hoop, then the person that's behind the hula hoop picks it up and runs really quickly to the X, and they switch spots really quickly, and then that person, the new person, throws underhand and just get it into the hula hoop. And so they do that back and forth, switch, 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 as fast as they can, and they want to get it in the hula hoop 10 times. And once they get their 10, then they put the marker and the beanbag inside their hula hoop and get into the plank position on the floor. And then, so I have a timer running this whole time. I forgot to mention that part. But once everybody has gotten it 10 times and everybody's in the plank position on the floor, then I stop the timer. And so they're kind of racing against like the other teams in the class to see who can get it first, but really the main part is like they're gonna compete against other classes that come into PE and try to get the fastest time that they can get. So they want all the groups to go super, super, super fast. But also obviously they have to be accurate because they have to get it inside the hula hoop. And so yeah, that is the activity. And then like for adaptations, you could like increase or decrease the distance between the hula hoop and the marker to make it more difficult or less difficult depending on your age or your student's abilities. And then like for an added challenge, if you like really need to make it more difficult, you could have the students stand in the hula hoop and try to aim for the little marker on the ground because it's a much smaller area to get it to, and so it is much more challenging to get the beanbag to land right on that small space. So that's like a really extra step challenge if they need it. And then my closure would just be like, I say like, as you leave, I want you all to tell me one thing you learned today. And this could be like, they could give like an example of when you would throw overhand instead, or when you would throw underhand instead of overhand. And then also just like something that they learned, a trick to make their underhand throw better. So like that would be as they're practicing, if I came around and say, hey, make sure you're not, swinging it way up like this and then swinging it way up like this and it's hitting the ceiling, like you don't want that. And so maybe something they learned through that. And so just as they leave, I'd give them like high five, and then they'd tell me as they walk out. And then the assessment is just watching as they're throwing to make sure they have the skill down, and then also like that little exit survey that I just talked about. And so yeah, that is pretty much my lesson. It connects to standard 3 on the Shape America standards. Yeah, that's it. Thanks.